Coq Au Vin, a rustic French stew of chicken braised with wine. The name Coq Au Vin literally means cock with wine because traditionally a rooster is used instead of a hen. In this episode of ODOS, we're going to walk you through this surprisingly easy, incredibly delicious dish while doing our best to keep it G. So, whether cock with wine is something you've never experienced, or if it's something that you enjoy regularly, you're going to want to stick around for our version of Coq Au Vin. So let's start by flipping the bird into a bowl or large Ziploc bag to marinade. And we're going to pour in 1.5 cups of our key ingredient, red wine. Traditionally, burgundy is used, but any red wine will do even if it's out of a box. And also 1 cup of chicken stock. Get your hands in there, make sure it gets in all the little cracks, and then we're going to let this marinate for about 2 hours. Did you know that acidic ingredients in marinades such as wine, lemon juice, and vinegar tenderize meat by denaturing the proteins in the muscle? By marinating our chicken in the wine, not only does it impart flavor into the meat, but it allows tenderness without lengthy cook times, which would be extra important in the traditional recipe where cock meat is used, which is naturally tougher. Notice how we're drying our meat after removing it from the marinade. In a large, deep skillet, we're going to add about 1/3 pound of chopped, thick-cut bacon and let it start to brown. Traditionally, lardon is used, which is basically pork fat or very fatty bacon. As the bacon browns, the fat renders out, which we will use to sear our chicken in. But first, we're going to remove the bacon and set it aside. Moving on, we're going to set our pre-marinated chicken into the skillet now to brown. In the traditional recipe, a whole bird is broken down, leaving bones in and skin on. But if you prefer your meat skinless like so many do in these modern times, take into consideration that it will finish quicker without the skin, so adjust your cooking times. And just look at that color. That's exactly what we're looking for. When the chicken is finished browning on both sides, remove it from the pan and set it aside. Now we're going to discard all that remaining fat from the pan and then replace it with about 1 tablespoon of olive oil. It's time to start cooking our root vegetables. For this recipe, I'm using these beautiful gemstone potatoes, and instead of carrots, I'm using parsnips. Oh, and half an onion. Which reminds me, none of this would be possible without Melissa's Produce. Go to melissas.com and order your shipment today. We're cooking our root vegetables for about 5 minutes to let them start to soften before adding our garlic, which we'll cook for an additional 2 minutes. And then it's time to add our tomato paste. Notice how I start off in the center of the pan? And then we're going to let it continue to brown after incorporating it into the vegetables. We want to give it a chance to caramelize, reducing the acidity and unlocking all its wondrous flavor. At this point, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of flour as a thickener for when the liquids are added, because there's nothing worse than thin cock with wine. So I hear. That's 1/4 cup of brandy I'm adding, which is optional, but if you have it laying around, it adds that extra layer of complexity to the sauce. And of course, after reintroducing our marinating liquid, we're going to begin the deglazing process. Our goal here is to scrape as much of the cooked on goodness from the bottom of the pan back into the sauce. Chicks dig wine. That's why we're going to take our time and nestle our chicken back into the liquid with all the love and care that they deserve. Get them as deep into the sauce as you can, and then we're going to top them with our bacon. You can probably guess that this smells incredible, but it's just getting started because we're going to finish it with some boiler onions, cover, and then simmer for about 45 minutes. Oh yeah, if you could smell what I'm smelling right now, all the flavors having come together in the pan like a culinary utopia. Isn't that what we all want? To come together? I know I do, and it starts one delicious recipe at a time. You don't have to be French to love this dish. You don't even have to be able to say Coq Au Vin to love it. All you have to do is be able to make it, which you can now that you've watched this video. And of course, the full recipe's in the description. But before you go bragging to your friends about your amazing new discovery, I'd suggest you at least try to say Coq Au Vin, because when they ask why you're so excited and glowing with enthusiasm, and your reply is cock with wine, you're going to get some strange looks. If you enjoyed this recipe, please like and subscribe, and we will love you forever. And, as always, thanks for watching.